We say things that don't mean anything, but thanks for listening. Yeah. Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome to We Say Things episode 247, the long-awaited post-TI episode with Suns fan and Cinderin. You can blame him. He has been horribly sick, apparently. Everybody, I've been seeing posts on Reddit. Did Suns fan die? No, you should be asking Cinderin that question. My goodness. What happened to you?
It was me. Well, I got really sick after TI.
Was it from me, Cinderin?
Probably not, because we didn't have the same sickness, so that would be very weird. But yeah, I've basically been sick for almost 2 full weeks, and the symptoms have been coughing, headache, fever. I had a fever for about a week and a half, on and off.
God damn.
And according to the doctor and also what I figured myself, it's most likely that I am at the end now of viral pneumonia. So
pneumonia? Wow.
Yeah. So pretty nasty stuff. It fucking sucks. But here we are. And
wow.
I'm still not fully well, as you can tell, but
you're well enough.
I wanted to try to push out an episode tonight so we get it done, you know? So we get there.
I'm not catching the bottom of your... Here we go. Let me get that in there. You're well enough to try to sell our merch there that you're wearing right there.
Oh, yeah.
Most of it's being blocked off, of course, because I'm very good at positioning.
I'll just set up a little more. Here you go.
Perfect.
Oh, lovely.
Let's say I'll do the patron since you're horribly sick, Cinderin.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Thank you to everybody in the In Bruges tier. Mr. Wonko, a.k.a. We Play Things, Kunka, Lakers in 5, fuck you. Amish Toaster, Radan Falls Again, Suns fan. No Matter Than a Hatter, Crownfall Enjoyer, Captain Broccoli, Suns Nugget Boy, STGC Daniel. Mr. I Love the NBA segment, you guys are simply the best. Had a blast at TI, and seeing you was the icing on the cake. Pepperballs, T-Coil, Yatoro Does It Again, Cinderin. Not really. Vlad, Let's Have Puppy on the Podcast, Disco Farm D, The Megapope, Shark TM, Janie, Dop, Wooden Aftertaste, Anonymous, and Facts will return next week. This week, I just want to say thank you for an amazing TI, Mr. Niebling. It was nice meeting you, Mr. Niebling, and the rest of you that we saw. We'll get to that a little later in the podcast. You had an announcement, Cinderin, for next.
Yes. So if you guys missed our previous episode, which we did during TI, we showed off our new merch that the podcast has, which some people were very excited about and some people had been asking for literally 2+ years. And we finally got around to getting that sorted. So I believe the link for it is merch.sunsfan.gg, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Everything is on there. And by popular demand, the most requested item for us to add was a t-shirt that is literally just the horse. So we've made that one, and it's on there, and it has the same print method as the other Tri-Blend t-shirt we have, which is direct to garment. So it should be the same quality as the other t-shirt. Make sure you wash it inside out.
There's a pink one. Holy fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's some different color selections there, and as always, we would love to hear feedback from you guys about anything about the merch. If there's stuff you want to see that you think could be really fun, obviously if it's within reason for us to make it. If you like the stuff that you bought, if you thought it was good quality, complaints are just as important as praise for us, because we want the merch to be good. Like we don't want you guys to shell out and buy stuff that just turns out not to be good enough, which is why one of the original products that we wanted to launch, we didn't think was good enough, so we never put it up for sale when we tested that one. So there's a couple of other things that we have as ideas right now that aren't implemented yet, but to those of you guys who already bought merch, that's fucking awesome. There's been quite a lot of you, so that's really nice to see.
Yeah, I'm using the mouse pad right now. It's great.
Yeah, so you can showcase the mouse pad. You've obviously seen me drink from the mug. There's this hoodie. We have 2 t-shirts now. There's a lot of different options, and I believe every single item ships from EU and the US, with the exception of the mouse pad that unfortunately only ships from the US for some reason. So if you're an EU enjoyer that wants that mouse pad, unfortunately you're going to have to deal with that more expensive shipping. That's just how it is. That was the option. So
I'm sure it's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, That's the merch. Check it
Okay,
out.
next
GG.
Next segment is super fast. Esports Awards, everybody. The finalists for Esports Colorcaster of the Year. For those that don't know what a colorcaster is, it's the analyst in the caster, not the play-by-play. Both me and Cap are nominated, and I think this proves one thing, that we're both fucking geniuses, obviously, okay? So I'm going to put the link of this in the description because it's voting-based, and I think it would be fucking hilarious if we win somehow.
Oh my god!
In the wrong category because they didn't do that. I don't understand. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to just put the link in the description of the YouTube video, and it's going to be great. All right. So thank you so much for this nomination. It means a lot. Cinder and get fucked. How does it feel?
When you tweeted this out, I was laughing and I said, I really hope you win, and I mean it. I mean it. I mean, arguably, some of these award shows already are a little bit, either popularity contests or sometimes, as is the case with this one, just flat out misguided, right? So I just think it's really fucking funny if you end up winning in a category you are not even qualified for. I think that'll be really fun.
Let's do it, chat. Let's do it.
So I hope you win. I really hope you win.
esportsawards.com/vote. Enjoy. Okay, let's talk about TI. This is going to be a long segment. So I've kind of segmented this, talk about results, and then into predictions, and we can get into other stuff after the fact. So let's just talk about the games. And I do have some thoughts about the games a little later. I'll wait till after we're done talking about the actual results. So,
okay.
Do you want to take this over?
I mean, I think we can. With it's TI. The majority of people have at least watched, some of the bracket. So I don't think there's, and also at this point, unfortunately because of me being sick, this episode is very delayed. So I think probably just mentioning, I want to go over the top 8, how they placed, and maybe if there was like some major upset in the top 8, which honestly, I don't really think so. So, but let's just do that in order. So in 7th, 8th, we finished with BetBoom and Aurora. 5th, 6th, Cloud9 and Extreme. 4th place was Falcons. So for the first time in, I don't know how long, they don't get on the podium.
Yeah.
Tundra take 3rd, Gaming Gladiators 2nd, and Team Liquid were the grand champions without losing a single game in the bracket. They just absolutely owned.
And once we got to the arena, every series but one went 2-0 or 3-0 in the case of the finals.
Yep.
So I want to get to our predictions in a second, but so I was talking to a bunch of people at the after party about this, and I've been thinking about it. And I think I'm willing to say this was the worst meta in TI history, and I'll tell you why. So the 3 that come to mind as being they were bad games. TI4, with like the
final day.
Well, we'll get to that. The pushing, like everything ends in like 15 minutes.
Right.
TI11, which is the Wraith Pact, and then TI13, which just happened. TI4, like you've said, it was really the final day, or the final 2 days maybe, that were just this really fast, like the game, it was just figured out, and it was really boring, and people would GG out before you even enter the base. That was bad, but you can't discount the rest of the tournament, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to include that as being the worst. TI11, which is Wraith Pact, which is where Tundra won. Correct me if I'm wrong, there were some good games, regardless of that.
Oh, there were plenty of good games at TI11. So
TI13, which just occurred, I would say there was, at least in the playoffs, like we didn't cast a single good game. I'm pretty sure. Maybe there was one that was okay, but none of them were like exciting or like usual type.
There was nothing outstanding. I think, did we have a game that was close to an hour? Was that how it was?
Yeah.
Or just barely crossed an hour, but the game itself wasn't actually that good.
Right. And I think on the main stage, the only good game was one of the games between Gaiman and Tundra in the lower bracket. That series went 2-1. I'm trying to remember. I guess it was the last one. It went 70 minutes. That was a crazy game.
Yeah, that one was really exciting. Yeah.
Other than that, like finals 3-0 again. The meta is just aura, aura, aura. And this is one of the downsides. And first of all, I'm not even going to blame Valve for this, believe it or not. I love shitting on Valve when the time comes, but because I would have also done this, but we've talked about it before, where you come out with this big patch, like gigantic patch, like somewhat close to a big tournament. It can go one of two ways, right? And this, unfortunately, was the other side of the coin. I think it's worth the risk, personally, because it just freshens up the game so much, and it makes things, I think, more times than not, it would not end up like this anyway. So
just
all in all, I think it's just bad luck.
You're talking about the patch with facets and innate, right?
Yeah, because that takes a long time to balance.
Exactly. Whenever you put in a major new system into the game, whether it's facets and innates, whether it's talents, whether it's neutral items, certain aspects of them will just turn out to be very much stronger than others. It's like on first read through, when you looked at the facets and innates, it wasn't rocket science that some heroes got shafted and some heroes got the better end of the stick, right? It's just a matter of, okay, by how much? And unfortunately, what ends up happening at TI is that we have the highest amount of uncontested heroes of all time. I think 25 heroes were unpicked.
Still pretty good, though, if you compare it to other games.
And 21 heroes were unpicked and unbanned. So 4 heroes got banned but not picked. In the grand scheme of things with TI history, that's pretty bad. And it's also not only about, because that metric can be a little bit misleading, because you can have, let's say to make this simple, let's say the hero roster has 100 heroes, right? And 90 of them get picked, but 50 get picked once. Then, it's a patch with very little variety, and 40 heroes are being played all the time. That's obviously an extreme version of this. That's not exactly what happened, but honestly, in the playoffs, I feel like for the most part, it was like 30 to 40 heroes that were played. There were a little bit of odd ones out that got picked like once or twice, but compared to creativity and inspirational stuff that we've seen from teams in the past, I felt like this was very defined. Like the most exciting pick of the grand finals was that Gaming Gladiators ran Ricky once, then they lost, and then they're like, okay, we'll pick the same as always. Tundra picked Slark, and therefore they lost. Actually, Pure played a hell of a game, but yeah, still lost on the Slark. So yeah, there was a lot of. It's just right now in Dota with that patch, a lot of heroes are just better than the rest. And you're talking about the auras, which are definitely one part of the problem. I also think Gleipnir is effectively defining the carry meta, more or less.
Yeah, it just makes them all ranged heroes, right? Pretty much.
That item is just better than every other carry item. So the carries that are the best are the carries that buy Gleipnir most of the time. There's the primary one being Luna, but we saw like carry Windranger take over Lina, Nature's Prophet, and the one carry that toward the end of the tournament could hold a candle to all of them was Lone Druid, and guess why? It's because he has the best facet in the entire game.
But that's the thing. Nobody knew that until the last few days, which is it just gets discovered, and then it's so broken that it becomes everything.
I think Gaimin knew the whole tournament.
You think so?
But it just got banned against them the whole time. And then other teams realized, wait, this is why it's so broken. That's my read on it anyway, because a team like Tundra ended up playing it on Pure, right? Ultimately. And he's a really good Lone Druid player. And when he got his hands on Lone, he was crushing. I mean, it's just obvious that facet is ridiculous for pro play. So yeah. But as usual with these new systems, you got to give them time. Like you said, there's pros and cons to dropping something like this 2 months before TI. I am personally on the side of I prefer to give it more time to develop, because I like it more when there's more variety at TI and the game is more balanced. Some people prefer the more like chaos and OP stuff. It's, you can't please everybody. You're going to hit some and miss some. So.
They've had patches around the same time. Then again, were they ever this massive? Because facets were massive.
That's the thing. Neutral items don't hold a candle to facets plus innates and how much they influence the item, the game, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So like
so maybe there wasn't ever one.
Relative impact is huge.
Yeah.
On this, it's like imagine you put talents a month before TI, and then you show up and you have the version of talents at TI where heroes have GPM, XPM talents and respawn talents.
Oh yeah, the Lina respawn talent was a real dream.
That TI meta would have been similar. I think the teams would have figured out these 40 heroes have the best talents.
Yeah, but even that would have been a little bit more exciting, because then you're like heroes are dead for less time. I think auras, you're underselling it a bit. It makes the playstyle boring. you have a big team fight and nobody dies. That's really boring. Like, so I think that contributes heavily.
It's not only auras, it's also the concept of barrier, right? Which is still, in the grand scheme of things in Dota, relatively new. So the math gets... The way you're used to things being balanced around damage and health gets skewed quite a lot because of how barriers work, where if you have a 400 HP barrier, that barrier starts taking damage after resistance. So if you have 50% physical damage taken reduction, that 400 HP barrier blocks 800 physical damage. It obviously only blocks 400 of something else if it's a barrier that can take damage from any type of damage, but you get the idea. So it also makes an item like Pipe, items like Solar Crest, etc., extremely powerful when you put them on heroes that inherently have armor/magic resist on their own. So yeah, it's just new systems that are, to put it bluntly, just not balanced. And obviously the teams are playing for a lot of money, and they're playing to win, and they're playing for the prestige, so they'll play what's best. And I don't blame them for a second for it, but unfortunately, like you said, what ends up happening a lot of the time is one team wins a fight, they get ahead by 1 or 2 auras and 1 or 2 barriers, and they can no longer die. And that was how a lot of the games felt, was that it was just like a ticking time bomb of, okay, team gets ahead, team wins, game ends. And unfortunately, you could argue that doesn't really explain why so many series were 2-0s, because technically that could have happened to either team in any game. But yeah, one team was just better at the other in general in the series we had at accomplishing those
So
goals.
how did our predictions go?
Oh yeah, predictions. Okay, so I have them on my phone, which is a bit ghetto, but that's how we noted them back then. So my predictions, let's start with mine and see how terribly I did, which was pretty awful. So I picked Extreme Gaming to win.
That's right. I forgot.
This is my final time predicting a Chinese team to win, by the way. Let me go on record. In our future predictions, I will never predict China to win a tournament until they win a major tournament again. I'll just not choose them ever. Even if they've owned even if they crush their region, they look amazing in some tier 2 tournament or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not picking China to win again.
We'll see.
My second place pick was Falcons. They got 4th, so it was somewhat close. And then my third place pick was Gaming Gladiators, who got 2nd. So, I mean, my 1, 2s, and 3s got, what did they got? They got 5th, 4th, and 2nd. So it was like, not.
And who is your dark horse and
So
donkey?
My white donkey, which is the team that we think, or we bet, if you will, to underperform, was Gaming Gladiators. So I hedged my bets.
Yeah, good.
That was obviously very wrong. And my dark horse was Heroic, who got 9th through 12th. So they were 1 slot off, because we consider dark horse top 8.
Yeah, okay.
You picked Liquid to win. Congratulations. You nailed one. Then you had Falcon 2nd, just like me. So that was 2 off. And then your third place was Cloud9, who got 5th, 6th.
Oh, wow. I did worse than you then.
No, you did way better.
Did I do? Okay, keep going.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh, that's good.
Keep going.
Unfortunately, your white donkey was Liquid, so that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I forgot you picked Extreme. Yeah, Extreme's way off. Okay.
Yeah. So your white donkey was Liquid. You hedged your bets. You said either they win the whole thing or they bomb out, which is reasonable.
Yep.
And your dark horse was Team Zero, who got last place.
Wow.
So that was...
wow. Yeah.
That was quite far off. So I think all in all, I'll give you the victory based on your top 3, because your top 3 was better. But my white donkey and dark horses were overall slightly better than yours. So
it was a good competition, Cinderant. Next time we should have something on the line, probably.
We should have what, sorry?
Something on the line. Not like tomato eating, because that's the reason we haven't done that. If anybody remembers that episode, that was a long time ago, but still have PTSD. Okay, let's talk about the tournament itself, like from our perspective. So a couple different factors here. Number one, from like a casting perspective, I thought this was really well produced. I've had criticism of PGL in the past, but I thought, again, as talent, it was really well done. I think our casting setup on the main stage was not the greatest, just in terms of visibility. Like, I don't even know why I'm putting on makeup. Literally wasn't on camera one time, which I don't really care that much about. But it just wasn't. The setup was kind of weird. People, like, if we wanted to be on camera, it was like a really weird, it's hard to explain. It's a really weird walk with our headsets on around like TVs and stuff. So that was not well planned out, but everything else was great. Didn't have any issues. And then from a spectator standpoint, which I can't really speak firsthand about, but I think the main criticism was that there was absolutely nothing to do in the arena, which I think we ended up benefiting from in some fashion with our meetup, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think that was the main criticism, is that there's less things happening in the arena.
It was that, and then supposedly, so the way Royal Arena is designed, it's like an oval with a flat back. So you take an oval and you like slice the last 10% or whatever at the top, which is where the screens or the backstage is. And then the screens, they had a triple screen setup that was like pushed out into the arena. Supposedly, it was hard to see some of the details about the game when you were sitting at the far end of the arena, so toward one end of the oval, basically. That was the main criticism I heard, was that those seats, it was just difficult for the audience to see details on the screens. So either they needed to move the screens further into the room so that they were more centered, or the screen facing that part of the arena has to be bigger. But that's obviously feedback that they can take with them for next time. The thing that sucks about that is when you have a full arena, or even, let's say, 3/4 capacity, people start needing those seats. And if those seats are subpar, then I feel like you're not getting what you pay for.
It's funny because the final day, which we weren't, I guess you were on panel, I went to the VIP section, and all they had was like a TV, and it wasn't connected to the crowd in any way. So I was like, I don't want to be in here. So I go into like the crowd, and there's absolutely no seats, or at least they're really hard to find. So I just end up standing watching the first game of the finals.
It was packed, for sure.
It was really packed.
Very good. The last 2 days especially. Yeah, so just to add on to what you said, for me, the biggest shame personally, I agree with what you said about positives, that production-wise, this was very smooth. I think PGL, I don't know why this is the case, or well, I do, but I think it's unjust how much shit they still get from fans relative to other organizers when they run events. I think the base level of production quality that PGL has is good enough, but fans are still... It's like if something goes wrong, they cut them way less slack, I think is what I'm trying to say here, than other orgs. And I think that might just be a historical thing that's justified, that PGL were not up to snuff, like, let's say a few years ago, but I think they've improved a lot. And I think it shows. And I think it shows in what you just said as well, from our end, at least.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to the producer. His name is Seb. That guy's a fucking beast. He is amazing.
Really
he's really
one of the best.
I can ask him for tea, and he won't get mad because he's the producer of the entire show. But he's very down to earth.
Through and through, and he's very effective, and he's just a good guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, big shout outs to him. He's one of my favorite people I've ever worked with in Dota. So yeah, super good guy. But yeah, overall, from our point of view, everything revolving around the event, from accommodation to food to green room to the playoff casting setup we had, all of that was very nice and well taken care of. The one main criticism I have, which I think is a big shame, is you said you don't really care about being on camera. I think it's a big shame that casters don't get introduced personally. I feel like, considering how big a part of the show the commentary is, I feel like casters should be shown on camera. We shouldn't be like the focus of the show or whatever, and don't take this in a narcissistic way of, oh my god, give me my 10 seconds of fame or whatever. It's just, I feel like for the flow of the product, it makes sense to introduce the people that you're now going to listen to for 45 minutes on camera, even if it's just for 5 seconds or whatever, just for the continuity. I think it's just better. And the way they did it, so the reason we weren't shown on camera, which we almost always are, is after game 1 and 2, after game 1, they would have a coach interview with team number 1 down on stage. After game 2, they would have a coach interview with coach number 2 down on stage. And then game 3, they would have the casters. But guess what? Every fucking series was a 2-0. So the casters were never on, right?
Yeah, but theoretically, that shouldn't even be in like part of it anyway. Like,
right. So
I said, I don't care about being on camera, but I know that we should be, if that makes sense. You know,
Exactly. So I think for continuity's sake, what you can do with the setup they did, I think it's completely fine to prioritize the coaches and get that interview in there. I think that's great. When the coach interview is over, I think they did the picture in picture because the game starts simultaneously as the coach is talking. Put the coach in picture like they did. When that is over, then put the casters in picture for 5 seconds, and we're just standing there talking about the game as it's already going on.
you could also just
and then
put.
if there's a hype fight and we're just hyped, then we're just hyped on camera.
You could
That
also
looks
just
great.
put pictures of us. I mean, that's a middle ground.
Yeah, but that also comes. I don't know. I feel like that just looks cheap and unprofessional comparatively for a big live event, right?
I guess that's my forte, cheap and just ghetto as possible. Okay,
So that was the one thing,
Mhm.
was us not being shown on camera. The other one is because of the design of the stage where we were separated up behind the back, it was hard to get fan interactions, which I think is a big part of LANs and of TI. Is I think the camera shots where fans are standing behind the casters are really cool and a fun like part of the
But
aesthetic.
the benefit
and
of
the vibe.
that is being able to go to the bathroom between casts. That was nice.
Absolutely.
That was really nice
And I
because
genuinely wonder, I don't know this, I didn't ask. I wonder if part of the reason that we were separated and in the back here was because of what happened at the prior CS major in Royal Arena. If you remember, there was multiple people just rushing the stage.
Mhm.
And if there's some sort of security concerns, if that was why they did it this way, so that the show
I
was
see. But
very separated from the fans, right?
the casters weren't on the
Prevent that.
stage though for CS. But you're just saying in general.
No. Yeah, I'm just saying in general, like that might have been like a safety concern based of what happened in that event, that they just didn't want to run the risk. It's possible, and I can appreciate if that was the logic, but it's either way, it's a shame, right? Because I think having fans in the background, and also for us, I think it's a nice flow that you show up to cast your best of 3, and then before game 1, after game 1, and after game 2, fans get the opportunity to come and say hello, tell you a story, take a picture, get something signed if they want. And then that's like a nice, like flow of the workday where everybody gets a chance to meet. And
where were we that we had to go through the arena into the public bathroom with like hundreds of people seemingly to take a leak between games?
That might have been ESL Birmingham.
Yeah, that was not ideal.
I think. I mean, that's the other end of it.
That was very stressful. It's like, I'm an old man. I got to pee between games. I got to release.
But I mean, that's the other extreme, which is also very rare. I think that's the only time I've ever experienced that at a LAN event, that we don't just have an easy path backstage to either take a break or go to the bathroom.
No, that's not. Berlin was the same, actually. Well, it wasn't a public bathroom, but you'd have to like walk down the arena, like literally the other side of the arena to go to the private bathrooms. So it was quite the walk. But anyway, it's just,
that's true, actually.
Obviously, we are in the very privileged perspective of being casters, so we have very nitpicky things that we like. But I want to talk about a couple other things. So so usually they don't give schedules for casters until the day before. We've talked about this before. This is maybe you've been to more TIs than me, Sindren. The TIs I've been to, this was the first time we got schedules before the arena days. So we knew we were not
the entire final stage.
We knew we were not a part of the final day in any capacity, at least at first. And then we got a thread saying Suns fan and Sindren casting the finals. I'm like, what the fuck? And it was a very prominent thread. I'm like, well, do they know something? No, I didn't think that, but it was, first of all, it's obviously flattering, but at the same time, we can't like post in there saying, no, you're wrong, because then we're spoiling awkward. What's going to happen. So it's like this weird, we just got to be silent, I guess. I don't know. I was surprised, and I know you weren't going to talk about this, but you know me. You were not scheduled for the final day at all, which I would like. I don't obviously give a shit about my side of things. Like we've been over that a million times. I'm okay casting finals now. We've done it before. After I said that I wasn't okay doing finals, I think we've done enough that people don't care. Like I think we get serious enough that it doesn't matter. But you weren't a part of the broadcast at all at first. I'm like, what the fuck? This is in Denmark. You should surely be on panel at least. Because I knew that they were doing a video for you, which I'll let you talk about in a minute. And I think it was Tsunami who ended up reminding that, hey, Syndrome should probably be on panel at some point because we're putting this video on. So, but yeah, they ended up putting on the schedule.
Yeah.
Talk about the video because that was really cool. And then talk about your family also, which I didn't get to meet, sadly.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. So, I mean, so first of all, just to finish off on the whole casting thing, I think that's just it's just funny that the way that thread was presented was not, because sometimes there's threads where people are like, oh man, I really love this casting duo. I really hope they get the finals of this tournament, or, you know, whoever you like or whatever. I think that's great. And also a lot of the positive threads that there were about commentary duos weren't shitting on others, which is, you know, for whatever reason, it's a fan favorite to kick other people while you put others on a pedestal. But that wasn't the case with this. It was just somebody just started this rumor. Sunsfan and Syndrome are casting the finals, and I can't wait. It's like
trying to speak it into existence, I think.
It got like 1,500 upvotes, and then there were like some comments that were like, "This is unconfirmed. What are you talking about?" And people just didn't care, you know. It just spread. So that was just weird to experience that. But anyway, like you said, we just dealt with it the way we could. So yeah. So about the whole panel thing. Before I went to TI, Slacks reached out to me and said that they were going to do a content piece on me, and he had this idea that they wanted to do it like a player profile, like the good old player profiles where the Valve video crew would fly out to the home of one of the pro players and meet the parents, and if they had any, like brother or sister or whatever, talk about their upbringing, how they got into video games, how the family dealt with them spending so much time, yada yada, on the PC. But mine should be a parody, where my parents live in, like, I don't know if the original idea was like the Middle Ages or like 15, 16, 1700s or something, and they just completely disapprove of everything I do, and I'm the family disappointment. So they ran with that idea, and they developed the script together, and I had a couple of little pieces of feedback, and then I did the translation for the Danish part. And then we ended up shooting this at a Danish museum that has housing from the 1800s. And some like outside farm animals and stuff that made some great farming shots. And then, yeah, the whole premise was that I was playing myself, my dad, and my mom. And my mom was speaking Danish, and my dad was speaking English with a Danish accent, which was easily the hardest part of everything to shoot. The dad was clearly the hardest. The mom was mega easy. Almost all of the shots we did of the mom were 1 takes or 2 takes. That just went really well.
What was hard about the dad? It's just hard to do a Danish accent in English.
Forcing an accent that you don't have, first of all, is kind of difficult. And then also the voice itself, I needed to force an accent in a voice that's not natural either. Because he was supposed to be like a deeper voice, right, to separate himself from me. So I had to do a lower voice and an accent that's not natural for me. So that was
a really good video. Really fucking good.
But yeah, it was really funny. And then, so what happened was I was told I was going to be on panel, and they were going to play this video, and then we were going to come back to me. And the reason I was on panel was, first of all, because the video was about me, but also to like tie the ends together, because it's a video that's a mockery, right? So not having me to not quote unquote defend myself, but you get the idea, to laugh it off and, make light of the situation when it gets played might feel like it's in poor taste. So they come back to me. Now, what I haven't been told is that there's the wholesome follow-up. I had no idea that was coming. So that's where you, among, I think, 5 or 6 others, were in that video, just saying really wholesome things about what I've done for Dota, which was, obviously very... it was very special and completely unexpected, so I didn't really know what to say to that. And supposedly there were more people that did.
They cut people out?
Yeah, they didn't use all of them. I think they didn't want it to be too long, and I get that. I mean, it's a balancing thing, right? Because let's say they record 10 or 15 people saying something, and then if they all play back to back, it probably becomes a little bit too much of the same thing. And it becomes a little bit too, okay, we get it.
I told you this after you saw it, but I don't think I've talked about it publicly. So I went in to record this, obviously the first segment, which was the funny part, telling you to like let go of your past pro crap, and then I bring up my CS background, of course, as is normal. That was a great suggestion by Tsunami. And then the wholesome part actually took the longest. I had to do 6 takes because I would talk, and then I would shit on you because I feel I can't compliment you without shitting on you to cancel it out. And there was one in particular where I literally was talking for 20 seconds, like, you're such a good friend. It wouldn't be here without you. You fucking suck. Literally something like that. Just like ended, like, come on, just do it wholesome. So they had to like beat it into me. I finally got it on the sixth take. So I was hoping that they could give me the outtakes. That would be so funny to watch.
I could just imagine Tsunami and Slacks are sitting there and they've been like working.
Yeah,
for, like,
they were really
hours.
tired.
Like, all right, we just need the Suns fan part and then we're done for the day. And you just keep. It's like out of a sitcom, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
You just keep getting everything right. Do you know Calvin and Hobbes, the comic?
Yeah.
It's like when Calvin gets photographed for the school album, he always sits very nicely, and the moment the camera goes click, he makes a stupid face, and he does it over and over and over and over again. That's basically what you did, you know. Everything, they're like, okay, fucking finally he got the take, and then you just spit on me in the end, you know.
That's right.
That's really fun.
It doesn't feel natural without doing that, you know. It's been years and years of fucking creating that habit.
Yeah.
So what about your family? What did they think?
Right. So this was a special case as well because, excuse me.
You know, just let it out.
So my parents have never been to a Dota event before, and my brother hasn't either. So I was like, all right, it's in Copenhagen. It's literally the World Championships. I feel like it would be a shame, and they all wanted to go, so they made it a part of a weekend trip to Copenhagen anyway, and then they just, as part of that trip, went to CTI. And yeah, PGL were very accommodating on the Saturday with getting them backstage access, so they got to see, you know, how we set up, how we prepare for the broadcast, what it looks like. Now, for this event in particular, the production setup with like the big production rooms, etc., were a little bit more separated. I don't think I actually even saw at this event the big production room, so they didn't get to see that, but they got to see our green room. They got to see where the teams warm up. They got to see like how we connect with things and whatnot. And then after that, they went to the arena to watch the BO3 that we cast that day, and they had a great time. So that was really cool. And obviously, Susie was a big help in that as well because she was there anyway, so she could, you know, show them around and maybe explain some things here and there about it because it's more alien to them than it is to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, unfortunately, you didn't get to meet them because when we came in, you weren't there yet. And then when you came in, because I went early since I knew they were coming, and you were already, you know, you were resting because you were sick, which was apparent on broadcast.
We can talk about that briefly. Yeah.
You were getting in all the rest that you could. And then when you came in, because you would come in as late as possible for your work, which makes complete sense. When you came in, they had already seen the backstage and they were already out in the crowd in the arena. So it was...
Yeah, it was unfortunate timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the sickness, first of all, 2 years in a row sick at TI. That is really bad luck.
Yeah.
It was just a cold. Like, I didn't have a fever or anything like that. I remember on the last day of our casting of the pre-main stage days, where we had a 2-day break after, like literally the last cast, I told you, I'm starting to feel something in my throat. Hopefully it's nothing. And of course, ends up being a fucking cold, which for me, colds just sound way worse than other people generally. And there's, for some fucking reason, my entire life, when I have just a cold, there's like a 15% chance that I lose my voice. And I lost my voice, which was really fucking great. So I go in with my voice all fucked up, and I'm drinking all this hot tea, trying to, you know, and you know how sometimes people say, oh, you don't sound as bad as you think you do because you're hearing yourself. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a go. Cast one game, I could fucking tell it was awful. Like the moment, like first they had me do a test, and they're like, oh, that sounds fine. I'm like, oh, okay, because I can't hear myself yet. The moment I start talking, I can hear myself in the arena. I'm like, holy fucking shit, that is bad. Like the issue was, like I could, if I went, like, so I was talking like this most of the time, like very monotone, because this is the voice that I could actually talk with. The moment I went up, like here is when I would lose my voice. Like we were doing singing exercises before the game. What was it? Oh, say, can you say? Like, I couldn't fucking do it. So second year in a row, Lyrical takes over. It was a shit series, so it didn't really matter in the end. It was
you missed 20 good minutes.
yeah,
or
upper
whatever it was,
bracket
30
finals, dog shit games. So I guess in that respect, I got lucky. But yeah,
30 minutes.
Thanks again to Lyrical for stepping in. Appreciate you. Yeah, just fucking bad luck. I don't know. I feel like I don't get sick that often, but maybe I do. I don't know.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's also been a really long time since I was sick, right? It's just you're more likely to get sick when you travel. And unfortunately, when we travel, it's 90% for work, right?
Yeah.
So it is just more likely that it will overlap.
Well,
Now, if we traveled more for leisure throughout the year and we got sick more often outside of work, we would be less likely to be sick when we work because then we would be,
yeah, I
the
need
immune
to
system would be warmed up. But
force myself to get sick outside of big events,
Yeah.
I guess.
that's the play.
I mean, there were a few people. Okay, I'm not
people-
gonna name names here. I'm a little slightly annoyed. There were a couple people. Again, they were sick, just walking around. This was like before the main event, and I'm like, if I fucking get sick, I swear to God, I start feeling a little inkling. I show up to rehearsal with a mask. Everybody treats me like a fucking leper. Even though I'm just taking precautions. It's just a cold. I'm just taking precautions, but everybody's thinking I have COVID or some shit, even though I tested negative. Just, annoying. Very annoying. I wish other people would just wear masks if they're...
I think they just
feeling
treat you
anything.
like a leper in general.
Yeah, that's true. It just made it worse.
You just paid attention to it because you were wearing a mask. So it made you more self-conscious.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, let's talk about the best part of the event.
Okay.
So after game one of the grand finals, you and I scheduled a meetup, which I'm going to go through the pictures now.
Yeah.
The line was, okay, we got to the section because we came from the VIP area first, and there were so many people, and I'm like, what is this? Is this like a line for the bathroom or something? So then I turn around, I'm like, wait, are you guys here for us? And they're like, yes. I'm like, what the fuck? There's so many people. But I think part of it is probably because, I mean, obviously we have people that like us, which is awesome. It's in Denmark, so it's more special for you, which you probably have a lot of local people, which you did. And also, there was nothing in the arena that we already talked about, so that also paid some factor in it. So I'm just going to go through the pictures here. There were some Suns Nugget shirts in the crowd. This guy made... I was going to wear this for the podcast because I thought we were doing it on Wednesday, but then it didn't happen. So I'd already worn it. I don't want to wear a disgusting, dirty shirt, but this shirt is fucking hilarious. So it's like an ink. It's got like an... I don't know what the filter, whatever you want to call the style, but has the horse head with "We Say Things," has Kez's face up here with the basketball hoop. You and I, me looking maniacal. You have Onion the dog and Monkey. It's fucking awesome shirt. So thank you for that shirt. Really cool stuff.
Yep. I believe this is I believe this is the same guy that made the other shirts that we have, right?
Is it?
Custom.
Oh,
I thought so. Maybe I'm
know.
wrong. Maybe it's not the same guy.
So here's a video of...
It's like I'm pretty sure
line.
if you go back, I mean, he might have just taken the art from that shirt, but the Onion the dog thing that you have on this new shirt, is the same one that he made on my original one, right? So if it's not the same person, he has just taken that exact imagery, which would mean he would need to have taken that from a picture where I'm wearing that shirt, which is not out of the question.
I mean, he did that for our faces. So.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm unsure is that the first shirt that I got, which is super cool, the Onion Dog shirt, is just a mystery to me because I just got it from Nikki after I believe it was the TI in Singapore, and she just said she got it from a fan, and I didn't know who it was. And I shouted him out, and I posted a picture with it, but nobody claimed that they made it, so I just genuinely don't know.
I see.
But yeah.
So this is a picture of me and Neil. I hadn't seen him in many years. He's all fucking jacked now. This is the owner of Dota Cinema. It's been a long ass time. Somebody with the Digital Chaos jersey, the Suns Nugget boys. Okay, that's just me in the elevator. So talk about. We were in line. I could not believe it. We missed the entire finals, other than game one. Yeah. We were standing there for literally 3 hours. That's crazy that many people wanted to say hi.
Yeah,
that was insane.
So first of all, logistically, I mean, it was unfortunate that we, in terms of logistics, had to place it when we did, right? That it was during the finals. because ideally it would have been at another time, but like I said, logistics just needed to make sense with this, and also with your sickness, right? That we needed to be past that. So it was at that time, and then I don't know, when we put it there, we were like, okay, we're gonna post on our social media and on Discord that we're doing this meetup, and then maybe some of our big fans that check those social media will show up. I don't know. I didn't really have like an expectation of how many people it was going to be, but sure as hell wasn't this many.
Yeah, I should have checked how many likes I had, because I don't get many likes on Twitter.
Right. So. And it's also, if people give it a like, that doesn't mean they're going to show up, right? It could just be, somebody thinks, oh, it's awesome, you guys are doing this, thumbs up, kind of thing. But yeah, the hundreds of people that were there was honestly mind-blowing that it was that long of a line. And it was super cool to meet a lot of fans, and not only meet a lot of fans, which we, tend to do at events, but there were a lot of like familiar faces. In my case, some Danes that I knew, or people that I had played Dota with for like 10, 15 years in pubs that I met for the first time, or, patrons that have supported the podcast for 3 to 4 years that we get to see in person for the first time. So it was really cool. It was like a culmination of a lot of people coming together, which makes sense because it was a European TI, right? And a lot of fans, if they're going to go to one Dota event, they want to go to TI, and this time that was possible for a lot of the people that are close to, to Europe. So, so that was an opportunity for them. So yeah, super cool. It was one of the best meetups we've ever done, and yeah, people were super nice, and man, there were a lot of really cool stories. I think the one story that I want to reference that stood out to me the most was there was a guy who told us, I have not played Dota since Dota 1, but I love listening to you guys cast. I thought that story was like almost unbelievable. That guy had been listening to Dota 2 casting for like, was it now close to 15 years at this point? And he's never played the game.
Yeah. I kind of don't believe it. Surely you played a couple, and you're rounding down. Surely. But yeah, that was insane. That was very memorable. Yeah, so thanks to everybody that showed up. We appreciate you. Very memorable experience, even though we got to miss the entire fight. Like, I think we had like two.
I'm hearing we didn't miss that.
Yeah, we didn't miss much. We had like 2 people left in the line, and I hear the fireworks going. I'm like, oh, we missed the entire fucking series. Wow, incredible. Okay, I have a story, Cinderin. Are you good on time? You were.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
I was just unsure how my energy level was going to hold up. You can tell that I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm okay. So,
all right. So here's a group here. You're going to see in the picture. So on the return flight home, the thing is, I don't even know if this is a funny story. It was hilarious to me, and me sharing it, I don't know if it's going to end up being funny, but I'm going to say it anyway, okay?
Okay.
So Tsunami, Slacks, myself, obviously my wife, and Jenkins are on the same flight going home. Tsunami sits in another area. Nikki always upgrades her seat to like premium economy, and I can't do it, so I'm stuck in fucking pleb seats. I'm on. So there's the middle section of the airplane. There's three sections, right? So the middle section, there's 2 aisles. I'm on one aisle seat. Jenkins is on the other, and we purposely do that so we have a middle seat with nobody there. Hopefully, right? Nobody claims it. Before the flight, Slacks asks us what seats we have. We tell him, oh, we got these 2 aisle seats. He picks the middle seat. So that's the first part of the story. So we do not have a free seat in the middle, even though there's once we get on the plane, there's plenty of free seats. So it's all 3 of us. God. But before we get on the flight, just knowing how this is going to go, Jenkins is going through the like the X-ray area where the TSA or whatever equivalent lady, this is in Denmark still, is asking him if he has anything in his pockets. He's wearing these really tight jean shorts. He's like doing a fucking what's that show on Netflix? The 80s show with, why am I asking you? Stranger Things. He's doing like a Stranger Things cosplay. He's just like in the fucking 80s. Things. I don't know why. So he has these jean shorts on. They're really tight, and the only thing, like, she asks, is there anything in your pockets? He's like, no. And he's thinking to himself, oh, she can maybe see my penis. It's like, it's actually so tight you can see the outline of my penis. 10 seconds later, she projectile vomits on the floor. And it bounces on his shoes and on Tsunami's pants. So basically the whole airport experience was him talking about how some woman looked at his penis, like he made her projectile vomit from looking at his penis, which was a great start to the trip back home. So we get on the flight, and there's a bunch of fans actually sitting close to us. So they're asking for like autographs and stuff. And Slacks is being so fucking loud. Like we're still waiting to take off. So he's sitting in the middle of us, but he's like just constantly standing up, stepping over me, just hovering over me, just trying to be funny. And this lady next to us on the other aisle seat, she's sitting next to a fan. She looks really fucking annoyed. And the fan and some of these other people are trying to take pictures and get autographs and stuff. So I'm like, all right, sure. So then she asked the guys that she's sitting next to, who are these guys? And he explains. Obviously, she doesn't understand. She takes the novel she's reading and has us sign it. Like, what the fuck? She doesn't even know who we are. Has no reference for what video games, like, whatever. So that was an interesting experience. Oh, and God. Slacks, before the flight, this is not a joke, by the way. He pops this, you know how Slacks and Jenkins really like to do bits and they commit to them, right? Mm-hmm. So this whole time Slacks is like, oh, we're going to have so much fun on the flight. We're going to watch movies. We're going to talk about the movies. It's going to be great. He pops out. So he had this Excel sheet that was made for TI. He repurposed it as an itinerary for our flight together. So he's like, all right, from 2 to 4, we watch a movie, your selection. Then we take the next 15 minutes to discuss the movie. We have a 15-minute break for bathroom, then 15 minutes to eat. Then we start the next movie. It is back to back to back. So I'm thinking this whole time, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Surely he's not going to commit to this. He fucking committed to this. We got almost no sleep on the plane because of Slacks. I was like, at first, not into it, right? Because he's sitting next to us, just constantly badgering us. God. And I'm like, I don't want any part of this. So he's like, all right, I'll give you the first choice of movie. I'm like, okay, fine. So I chose, you're not going to know any of these movies, by the way, Cinderin.
Okay.
I chose Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind because I was like, oh, Jenkins will definitely like this movie. We get through it. Jenkins likes it. Slacks is not into it, making noise constantly through the movie, just interrupting us. We have to make sure everything is constantly synced up, so he'll pause everybody in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're watching at the same time. Then Jenkins picks the worst fucking movie. It's back to back, by the way. No rest in between. Mm-hmm. He picks Candyman, the remake. Fucking awful. Horrible story, horrible acting, everything just horrible. I pick a classic, and he picks that dog shit. So I'm like halfway sleeping. Slacks won't let me sleep, so I keep nodding off, and he keeps waking me up. Finally get through that movie, and we're begging Slacks, please, can we change the itinerary to let us nap? So he says, okay. We take a 20-minute nap. He wakes us up, and then he gets to choose, which I'm like, oh, fucking great. Like, this is going to be awful. He finds a picture of a pit bull. No, not sorry. What's the dog he had? What's the kind of dog?
Wasn't it a bulldog? Or
no. It's not a bulldog.
Didn't he have a French bulldog?
No. A pug. Pug. There we go.
Oh, it's a pug. You're right. Yeah.
So he's obsessed with pugs, right? So he he chooses this thing that says it's called Old Dog, and it's just some old pug. That's it. It's a cartoon. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Then I notice, because it's very strict in his rule set, that we each pick a movie and we watch it, and then it keeps going in a cycle, right? Mm-hmm. His cartoon is 3 minutes. So I'm like, oh my fucking God, thank God. He doesn't realize it until we've already started. So of course, we get through the 3-minute video. It's just fucking this old guy walking his dog. I don't know why this is on a plane. It's 3 minutes. It's a cartoon of an old, you guys can look it up. It's called Old Dog. And the dog has diapers just like the old man, which is the only good part for me. Then he gets through, he tries to change it up. He's like, oh no, let me pick something else. No, you set the rules, you piece of shit. That's your movie. So I get the next choice in there. So I'm excited. I'm like, okay, we get to watch 12 Monkeys, a fucking classic. Who in here has seen 12? You haven't seen it, I guess.
Nope.
Absolute classic. They both hated it. So that just ruined my entire flight. So basically got no sleep on the flight because of these two absolute degenerates. But it was very memorable. So that's my airplane story.
That's true. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised that. So here's the problem.
Yeah.
Slacks will have crazy ideas like that, and he can be influenced. People can shut him down, but then you put him with the number one biggest enabler in the entire world, and then you're up against those two. And that's
it's nonstop.
Just not going to happen. If anyone will enable dumb shit, it's Jenkins. So
that's true.
So you're just there. You're outnumbered.
Nikki's reminding me that we ended up watching Old Dog 4 times during the flight because he would just keep forcing us to watch it. It was something. Nice. It was something else.
I'm so happy that I had a 30-minute flight home.
Yeah, that was a 9-hour flight. That was a real joy. All right, let's go to player transfer / roster shuffle. There's a lot. And
let's talk about confirmed stuff only, right?
Yeah. So let's see. Tundra, Soxa is back, right?
Okay, so how do you want to go about this? You're just
I don't know. The thing is, like this page that I'm looking at is actually, it doesn't show everything. So I'm going to go partially off of memory.
Okay.
So Nigma Galaxy, you're going to have to look this up while I have this page open.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kuroki's not on the roster right now. At least he's not playing. It's GH, in no particular order. GH, Sumail, Miracle, Noob, and is it
Omar?
And Omar, right? So 2 people from the previous, was it PSG Quest?
Yeah. So 5-head move. You destroy the other team you're competing against and take 2 of their best players.
Yeah.
To be stronger within your region. You still have to deal with Falcons though, which is an issue.
True. That roster's good though. That's a very good roster.
It has pushed GH onto 5, which Omar is really good, and so is GH. So I can't say for a fact that one of them is a better 4 than the other necessarily. But I don't know if either of them unlocks their true potential playing 5. I think that's my main thing about it, is that I guess in modern day Dota, 5 can do a lot more 4-like things than they used to. So I think maybe the gap is smaller than it was a few years ago, but there's still something, and it's also up in the air, right? Like what happens with the game in the next year? Are the roles going to be changed? Are we going to go a little bit backwards in terms of development, which is what a lot of players, a lot of fans are asking for that. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but like less gold in the game or slower acceleration, etc. We'll see, but yeah, on paper, very good team. I think all their players are exceptionally good, so very high ceiling for me.
Is this confirmed for Tundra that their new roster is Nightfall, No One, 33, Soxa, Whitemon?
I think Soxa, 33, and Whitemon are confirmed.
Okay. On Reddit, it says Nightfall, No One. But
I've not seen the other 2 confirmed, but it might be confirmed.
Yeah, so 33 leaves Liquid, and there was a post today by Blitz, which, by the way, didn't even congratulate Liquid. I feel like we're just shitting on how bad the game. Congratulations to Liquid, Blitz. Really happy that you get your TI victory. I mean, I'm a fan of all the Liquid boys, so it is wholesome to see them win TI for sure.
Yeah.
But they lose 33, who apparently wants to make his own team. So he's back on Tundra again. Glad that Sox is back. That's awesome. If this is true about Nightfall, No One, this is I mean, I'm not sure if I believe in Nightfall, if I'm being honest, but the other 4, like No One has really showed up in this last tournament. He played really
well this tournament, yeah.
So these 4, I'm very confident in. Nightfall is a bit of a wild card. Bet Boom got a ton of changes. So Pure, who was apparently, I forgot about this, he was on loan for Tundra that whole time. Yep. He's back on Bet Boom as the position 1. So this is, in my opinion, especially now we'll get to Yatoro retiring, Pure's the best carry in the world.
He's not
right
retiring,
now.
He's taking a break.
Well, whatever. I think Pure's the best carry in the world. This says GPK. I'm pretty sure it's not, though. Collapse.
I think it's Kiyotaka.
Yeah, that's right. So Pure, Kiyotaka, Collapse, who's, I think, taking a break as well, so he'll be back soon. Kateomi and Save are the Bet Boom players.
Miero is offlane still.
Wait, what did I say?
You said collapse, which was a rumor.
Oh,
I think,
yeah,
but
that's a rumor. My bad.
Posted themselves
Yeah.
that.
No, so yeah,
Miero is...
Collapse is taking a break for Spirit. We'll get to that. This is not, I guess,
Yep.
fully up to date.
Yep.
But BetBoom, that roster sounds really good. The only one I'm not sure of is Kiyotaka. He's the guy that plays Tinker, right? Or used to.
Well, he did.
That's what he was known for.
Because it's not a mid anymore.
Yeah, I understand. But so he was, if I remember right, a bit of a hit or a miss. He could be really amazing and then could fall flat. But Pure is so fucking god tier. Miero is extremely solid. I love him as an offlaner. Save is one of the best supports in the world. This roster is
I agree.
Gonna be better, I think.
I think the ceiling for this team is championships for sure. I'm curious to see how Kataomi plays 5, because similar to what I talked about with GH, I think a lot of what Kataomi has done in Cloud9 and before that in Entity was very specific. So I don't know if he's going to be able to put up the same types of performances and if the playstyle is going to suit him. Because in Cloud9 and in Entity, he played quite greedy as a 4. He was actually taking quite a lot of farm and scaling on like Tiny and Wyvern. So this is going to be a total change of pace for him, because either they're going to do that or he will play... I mean, they officially have him on 5 and Save on 4, but they can swap it around, because Save can play 5. I think it's more natural for Save to play Dota in the 5 way than it is for Kataomi, if that makes sense. Because we've seen plenty of games from Save where he's playing like 4 Shadow Demon for BetBoom and taking no farm the whole game, like taking no space and just having massive impact with really good spell casting and game understanding. But if Kataomi wants to play the way he usually does as a 5, there is a problem with hero limitations of what heroes are actually functioning that way from the 5 position. So we'll see. But in terms of like ceiling and potential for that team, it's extremely high.
OG 23 Savage replaces Tomato, and who replaced BZM mid? I'm trying to remember. It doesn't show here, I don't think.
Why is this eluding me right now? I just saw them play the other day. I'm waiting for someone to help us out here.
Yep, somebody help us out. Nine. That's right. Oh man, OG's roster sounds sick, really sick.
Yeah, I think that one is a little bit more uncertain for me. I think 9 is extremely good, but he's also very unique. So his ability to do his things, I think, are more teammate specific than other players are. I think the way he functions and the way he works as a player in the game requires the team to be able to buy into his ideas and just trust him blindly and let him do his things, similar in a way to Thompson. That's not to say, I mean, OG in theory is a good fit for that, because that's, they're the kind of team that would want that, but it still doesn't mean that every player is going to function well with that playstyle. And then you put 23 Savage in there, which is a bit of a wild card in my opinion. I think the guy's really, really skilled. But the thing you talked about with Kiyotaka having hit or miss games, I kind of have the same feeling with 23 Savage, that his ceiling is extremely high and he has certain heroes that he does very, very well on. But I also think he has some games where he does not look like a top 5 carry in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You want your carry to be putting out stable, high-tier performances if you want to...
The ironic thing about that is I think Tomato is actually a very consistent carry.
Yeah, I thought Tomato played great on OG. So I don't know what caused this change. As a viewer and somebody who has been watching their games over the last half year, I think he was probably if not one of the 2 players putting up the most consistent performances for me. I think toward the later portion of the year, BZM really dropped the ball in 1 or 2 tournaments. I don't know what was the reason, because I think that guy is really, really good and had tons of great tournaments, but he just hit a slump at a bad time, heading into TI quals and stuff. But yeah, I've always thought, and I think Tomato's a really good teammate too, based on my own prior experience. So, but yeah, I don't know. It could be multiple reasons. He has a different team now, so we'll see how that goes.
So Liquid,
yeah, out of the new rosters, I would say OG for me the biggest wild card.
Okay. Liquid, we talked about 33 leaving despite winning TI. He's a second-time TI winner, of course. Saberlight will replace him. Obviously, one of the biggest free agents that's been out there for quite a while. So that should be a cool fit.
Liquid had him as a stand-in for, I don't remember which LAN it was, but they really liked playing with him and thought he was super good. And there was like a famous clip of Insania saying, Bulba, how can you lose with this guy on your team? When he was playing for Shopify Rebellion. So, I think one thing that I think is really interesting with that is I think in terms of personality and energy, he fits in that team really well. Like how they are as people might read on them as a team outside of the game. I think he's going to get along really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Then the question is in terms of like strategy and execution in the game, if he's the right fit in terms of playstyle. But I think it makes a ton of sense with what options were available for Liquid to get him. I genuinely don't even think there was much of a consideration, if I'm honest. I think when 33 said that he wanted to do his own thing.
Yeah, and apparently he told them
probably their number one pick.
Yeah, he told them like months ago, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember the post from Blitz. So it wasn't like a last minute thing. So I'm sure Saberlight has known about this for a while, is my guess.
Right.
Team Spirit. This is incorrect, I think. So Radan, aka Yatoro, is taking a break. Mira, I think, is out. Collapse, I think, is also taking a break and will be back.
I think Mira is also taking a break. I think they were all announcing taking a break, right? I don't think any of them were like kicked or left.
So the video I watched from Team Spirit, Malik is replacing Collapse. Is that correct? Like in terms of temporarily?
Temporarily, yes, because Collapse is on break until next year. Radan is on break indefinitely, or was it Mira is? I think Mira and Radan are on break longer.
Yeah, the way that they announced it is that the other two are replaced for a longer term, and then Collapse is just like super short term.
Yeah,
and it doesn't show who they. Can you look it up? Who they replaced them with for now? There's Malik, I think, is the temporary one, and then there's what was that guy's name that is replacing?
Oh yeah, right. So Satanic is going to play carry, who is the carry talent in the pool right now. So this is very unsurprising. He's also Eastern European. He's also Russian. And then the 4 position will be Rue, which is the least known player I think that's going to be playing in a tier 1 team this season. But they were both playing together on Yellow Submarine, him and Satanic. So we'll see. It's very interesting times ahead for this team, I think. Also, I'm curious to see Satanic on the big stage. Like, this guy has the potential to be the next big thing in terms of carries. There's just so much promise. I think he's 16. He has reached ridiculous amounts of MMR. I think he's like top 5 on the leaderboard. And from what I'm gathering, he is like the carry talent in the world right now. So yeah, that's exciting stuff for Spirit. I think if some of their players go on break, these replacement options, at least short term, seem really promising. So.
Okay, I probably should have scrolled up earlier. This is all much newer. Okay, I see now. The check marks are what is official then. I see.
Got it. Yeah.
I think we've gone over, I believe, all of the tier 1 teams. Extreme, there was a post down here that 4 of the members are retiring. I don't know if that's accurate. There's no check mark by it.
That's what I heard as well, is that only XM will play in the coming season. But I don't, genuinely, when I hear stuff about Chinese teams and retirement, I just don't believe it. So, because they retire and unretire all the time, right? And they change their nicknames every 6 months, so you even forget what they were called anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying. Okay. So I think that's...
Although shout out to our good friend YSR-08D Mechanical.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that you just named him Yes Sir, and the other casters started calling him Yes Sir. It's like, okay.
Yeah, why not? It's easier.
Yeah.
All right, you want to take this next segment then?
Yeah. So, all right, I think this is... Oh, no, this is not the final thing. There's a couple more things. Don't worry, guys. This is a long episode. Yeah, so coming up is PGL Wallachia. I don't know if you want to do some quick predictions for that, or if we just let that one play out.
I'm trying to get this on the screen real quick. Here we go. I don't think we need to do predictions, do we? Do you want to do predictions for every tournament? There's gonna be a
Not
lot of
necessarily.
tournaments.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's fine. We don't have to. But yeah, okay. Let's not do predictions for this one then. So there's a lot of solid teams in this tournament, including the big names, Thundra, Falcons. I would say probably the two biggest ones there. Curious to see Azure Ray play again. They obviously weren't at TI because the Chinese qualifier didn't go well for them. We get to see the new Enigma Galaxy in action, Mouse Sports, and now Alliance have a team again, which is
is that their logo?
Yeah, I don't like the rebranding very much.
Wait, what? Now I need to look at their old logo. Oh, I see. It's
they picked up. I believe this was Team Dandelions. So they are Alliance now. We get to see Navi with Puppy on it as a stand-in, or as a temporary player. He announced that as well. We didn't talk about that in the roster section, but that's because Secret haven't been tier 1 for a while. But Puppy and Boom are playing for Navi temporarily, but they're still working on their own Secret project as well, was the official statement. But for now, they're playing in Navi with Uragi, BZM, and Zayas. Interesting team. Nouns will play here as well. IG, and yeah, there's Heroic, Beast Coast. There's a lot of familiar faces. So anyway, this tournament takes place in less than a week, or actually exactly a week from this recording, roughly. And I'll be covering that there. I'm going to be casting with Lyrical. And I'm traveling for on Wednesday. So that obviously is going to influence the timing of the next 2 episodes. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to be recording those, but I'll try my best to stick somewhat to the schedule at least while I'm there. Yeah, that's that coming up. I think that's all there is if we're not doing predictions.
Yep. All right. I'll play this in the background, but a new hero was announced during TI. I'll play it in the background, like I said. Kez, the bird that is in Crownfall that we've seen in the comics. They made a minute-long video. He's sporting a sword, and he's going to be ready for Crownfall, but there's no dates on when Crownfall 4 will drop. So,
yeah.
We get a new hero pretty fast, which is great.
Do you want to do predictions on when Act 4 is?
Sure. I'll say mid. What month are we in? I say mid-October. So in
2 weeks.
2.5 weeks or so. Yeah. I mean.
All right.
You're gonna say November?
It's very uns fan of you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna say November 7th.
Wow.
Wait, is that a Thursday?
They really stretched that last act quite a bit if it's going to be November, I'll tell you what.
Oh, we'll see.
So somebody in chat is saying there is an announced date. I don't think it's an announced date. It's, if I'm not mistaken, it's a date they put in the files of the game, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. But, I mean, it could mean something, technically. The video I found very lazy. So I know for... unless something's changed, they outsource these SFM videos. And the thing that I was taken aback by was it doesn't really showcase what his skills will be. Maybe it does, and we just don't notice them right off the bat. But this hero should be done already, right? If it's coming out within Act 4, even if it's in a month and a half, it should be basically done.
Right.
Meaning you should know his skills, which means you could show them in this video, but it's just like he's perched on a pole. Is that part of his skill? He has a sword. He does a spin like a Blade Fury kind of thing. I don't know if that's actually a skill or not.
So it's Monkey King Juggernaut. It's like Monkernaut.
My guess is that this showcases zero of the skills, which is to me a little weird because, like I said, they should know all the skills already. So I don't know.
Yeah, just for reference as well, this hero has been theorized for a long time because there were leaks in the files from many, many months ago, if not even years, about Bird Samurai. And this is obviously Bird Samurai. So the question is, the thing that people might not consider when it comes to hero development is that some of the heroes that get put in the game are ideas that have been in the game for many years. I think part of Pangolier was from back on the Play Dota forums before Dota 2 even came out. So I think they have like this, if I had to guess, they have like this pool of ideas, and then they run with one of them, they try stuff, they see if they like how it works, they like the flow of how it plays, If they don't, they might scrap it entirely, or they might rework it, or they might go with a different idea from that pool. So this could be that they've tried Bird Samurai, and this is Bird Samurai version 3, and this is the one they like. So this might have technically been a hero that they've tried, and the reason it's been in the game files for a very long time is that they tried to make this hero a thing in 2019. Like, that's a possibility. So, I don't know where I'm going with that point.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like,
what's the point?
It's just like, how to say, it's when people are like, yeah, we've seen Bird Samurai in the files for a long time, of course it's coming. There's stuff you see in the files that never comes out, right?
Any predictions? Agility?
I think it's an agility carry.
I agree.
Specifically because seems like it's been a long time since we've had one of those. I really hope he doesn't have some sort of proc every 4th attack kind of thing that we've had a lot of heroes with. Despite arguably that suiting the carry role the best, we've just had a plethora of those.
I also hope he doesn't have a skill that almost every hero has had in the last like 15, where one of the skills applies an auto attack, or in the case of like Swashbuckle, procs things that you have an item. Yep. It's almost like a pseudo attack. Exactly. It'd be nice to get something a little fresher.
Yeah.
So, but we'll
he's
see.
a bird. So
Burb is the word.
One prediction for me is that he will have some sort of flying movement. I think that either he has that or he is literally an emu. Those are the two options.
So
right? There's very few birds that can't fly.
That's true.
An ostrich.
If he's a dodo bird, extinct, back from the dead. This is not connected to this specifically, but I just wanted to say, generally, like with these big overarching changes that we see in Dota, you know me, I'm on board with most of them. Sometimes it takes a bit to get used to them. I think one thing I would genuinely, and they're never going to do this, I don't think, I would like them to just remove, I think it's bad for the game, in fact, is universal heroes. I think it's a failed experiment. I think it offers absolutely nothing to the game, and it's obviously extremely hard to balance. Like, universal heroes are like the heroes at TI.
Right. Yeah,
that could just be a meta thing, but I just think conceptually they don't offer anything that's interesting, you know? But that's just me.
It's so awesome to hear you coming around to what I said the day they came out. It's nice.
Yeah, but you shit on it's funny, I'm the negative one. You're the ones that shits on all this new cool stuff. I love talents. That's what you named one thing. You named 1 out of 10 things. Good job.
What else do I like?
Yeah, the fact that it's taking this long.
Yeah, it is concerning, isn't it?
You like the Roche Pit area?
So I'm going over the things in my head right now of what happened since. Neutral items I didn't really like, but they're better now. Honestly, neutral items are fine. I don't think they're great, but they're not terrible.
Yeah, you hated them for so long that you're going to be known as the person that hates neutral items, regardless of what you say. So
sure.
Next.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know if the bigger map made the game better, personally. I don't like wisdom runes conceptually, with them being stealable, but I do like what they do for the game. So I think if you change the idea, I am on board with it.
Okay, that doesn't count. You hate it. Next.
Well, with that, by extension, I like Tome of Knowledge.
Okay, bring it back to Tome of Knowledge.
Sure. So I liked that, but I think the idea that it splits between 2 heroes in your team is good. So I think what they did with Tome of Knowledge, turning it into Wisdom Rune, was good. I just don't think Wisdom Rune needs to be there.
I think the issue is the carry would buy Tome of Knowledge. They would get the experience. If they bring it back, the carry buys it. Let's just say theoretically, they use it. They don't get anything. It's just the bottom 2 experienced people, right? I think that's fine.
Okay, thought experiment. Let's say you remove Wisdom Runes from the game, and at minutes 7, the 2 lowest heroes in your team get an XP boost. That's literally the purpose of the rune anyway.
Yeah, but it feels like very forced. That's kind of lazy design.
Well, I also feel like the current one is forced. It's a forced objective.
It's a forced objective, yeah. You're having to give something up. That makes it actually more interesting if you think about it. But the fact that it's just so broken is the problem.
Yes. The problem for me is that it's the first Wisdom Rune. If you get both in the same team, I don't know what your win rate is, but
so if in theory you're buying it and it's enough of a price that it actually matters early game, that makes it more interesting than just giving it. Because then it's like, Why don't you just design the game or balance the game to not need that to begin with? Like, I mean, that's a design problem.
There's many ways of going about it. All right, we're talking way too much about this.
All right.
Okay, other things. Lotus pools. I don't know. The new
You're proving
Roche
my
pits,
point here, man.
The two Roche pits, probably all in all, better than the old one pit, but I think they should improve on this version and place the pits in more interesting spots than in the corners of the map. I think they should be top left and bottom right in the river, and then because the map is so big, you actually have the space to make something meaningful with the Roche pits.
You mean my original suggestion? Okay,
yeah,
just
I
checking.
think your original suggestion was better than what we have.
I think that Valve employees occasionally watch this, and when they hear a good idea from me, they want to rewrap it in a way to say, "Hey, we didn't actually, we don't want to give him any credit. Of course, can't take a good idea. Let's just make something else that's kind of similar in nature, but not the same." That's what
I think. Theoretically, I'm not too opposed to the gate, but I think the current way it works is not good. I think having mana as the resource that it takes makes specific heroes way better with the gate than others. And I think it's a balancing issue that certain heroes that are extremely good at rotating but have bad mana pools get really punished. Like, say, a hero like Clockwork, who has pretty high mana costs, but then also having to go through a gate versus Chen, who can just go through the gate and not give a fuck, right? Or Ench.
Yeah. I mean, I think the gate existing if the map is this big, it kind of has to exist. It's funny. Yeah, Deadlock has the exact same thing. They have a teleporter on the sides because the map is so fucking gigantic.
Yeah.
But there are no teleports in that. So
it was about what things I liked and what I didn't like after talents.
Yeah, and you've named everything that you don't like. So good job.
I haven't thought everything was terrible. You made it sound like I hated everything. That's incorrect.
Technically, that is true. Generally, I'm right though. Okay.
I think people throw around the word hate a bit too much. There's a scale, okay? Hate is a 10, and you can dislike something.
That's fine.
Or disagree with something, There.
It's called hyperbole, and it makes things more interesting. You should try it sometime. All right, on to the final topic of today. Okay, so What the Horse, the show. I'm going to be bringing it back, or at least trying to. We'll see if I can revive this thing. I know a lot of people have been asking for it. If you don't know what it is, I guess I'll just play an old episode. So things are going to change a little bit. So essentially, it's a video that it's almost like a game show where before, this is what the format was, where we had me as the host and then you with a guest come on, and we would take a replay, we would pause it, give you certain options, what the horse happens next. And you would choose one, then the guest would choose one, and we just tally the score. And then the final round is it's like Final Jeopardy where you can bet your horse heads or whatever. So bringing this back in a way, I wanted to integrate it into my stream because that's what everybody does these days, is because I'm not into the whole YouTube content anymore. So what I'm going to do is bring it back for on stream, and instead of having two guests, it's going to be me as the host, one guest, which you will be the guest on episode 1, Cinderin, and the guest will play against.
Did I confirm that I want to be a guest?
That's true. I haven't asked you yet, so we'll schedule that. The guest will compete against the viewers. So the first couple episodes are going to be pretty scuffed because we're just gonna have to edit some of this out for the final video that's going to go on YouTube. But we're gonna have a poll. Chat will vote for what they think is the answer, and then the guest will guess as well. And then it's competing against each other. That's the concept.
God, I love this show. Just watching this episode back.
It was fun.
Some of the theories of you just see the clip and it gets paused and there's literally nothing indicating the things that could happen. You just have to guess,
Yeah, it was fun. It was really annoying to make. I found an editor. He actually contacted me a while ago saying he wanted to revive this, and I was thinking about doing the same thing. So it just kind of aligned. So the thing is, we need clips. So I will put a Google submission form in the YouTube description as my phone goes crazy. If you guys want to submit clips that you think are funny or stupid or whatever, he will go through them and we will put them in episodes. And I have to still make the way that YouTube works. Apparently, you got to make a new channel for every type of show. You can't have different shows on the same channel, which is very stupid. So I have to still make a channel. Subscribers apparently don't really matter that much anymore. I don't fucking get YouTube, dude. It's so stupid. But so I still have to do that. So the first episode, I don't know when it's going to be, but it's going to be live streamed against chat, like I said, with Cinderin, hopefully, and then eventually edited down to be put on YouTube. So the thing is, I said the first couple episodes are going to be scuffed. If this is a reasonable success, meaning that people like this content and I think it's going well, whatever metrics those might be, I want to have Buka make something so that it's more integrated in the stream. So I can just play the video and it's more interactive and automatically the votes go in through chat. So there's not like a huge delay in waiting for chat. Like basically you type something in chat instead of having to vote in the poll, for example. That is what we eventually want to do, but that requires work and money. And this kind of stuff doesn't really make money. So I don't know if we're going to end up doing that anyway, but we'll see. So yeah, hopefully it'll work out. But this show, like you said, was a lot of fun. So I'm going to try bringing it back. So yeah, go to the YouTube comments, share that link with people, and hopefully people enjoy it. So what the horse happens here, Zinder, do you remember?
Oh, God, I don't remember that. When did this run, actually?
This was the final episode. So this was 6 years ago.
2018.
Yeah. You picked, or somebody picked, Juggernaut picks up the bounty rune and nothing more occurs.
Oh yeah, this one is funny because it's like Arrow hits Juggernaut, Arrow hits Phoenix, which they're on opposite teams.
That's right. You don't know who the arrow's from.
You don't know where the arrow's
Boom!
from. Yeah.
It was Phoenix. So, all right. So I think that's it for this episode, Cinderin. Hour and a half, not bad, not bad. Sorry for the delay, everybody. You can blame Cinderin and his immune system. Sorry for potentially getting you sick, Cinderin, but like you said...
it was not you.
I had no fever, and unless my immune system is just so good that I defeated the fever.
Okay, let's say it this way. If there is even a remote possibility, I will refuse to believe it out of just honoring myself.
Yeah,
because
true.
I would not be able to live with the fact that you were sick for like 2 days and I have had a fever for like 9 if it was the same thing.
I wonder if we got anybody sick at TI, like the people that came up to... I don't think I was contagious anymore. Not that I'm a doctor. You were probably contagious at that point.
I don't know. The real symptoms that I started having were after, right? Honestly, it was kind of crazy. So I got back I got back to the hotel after the finals were over, and I just started feeling bad the moment I walked in the door, literally. So I ended up not going to the after party or anything because I was just knocked out, like completely. I was super out of energy. I started feeling bad, fever, etc. So the symptoms started really showing the moment I got back, and therefore I was hopeful that I didn't get anyone else sick yet, and that was when I started being contagious. But I mean, who knows? Like, hopefully I didn't make like tens of people sick with what I have, because that would be miserable. It was bad enough for me. I don't want to wish that on other people, but yeah, hopefully not.
It's the way of things, unfortunately, at these fucking events. Sadly.
Yeah. It's a risk. It's always a risk when you meet other people. That's why the lesson is to just stay at home always and do nothing.
Yep, that's right. Well said.
All right.
All right, thanks everybody. Until next time, we don't know when that's going to be. We could theoretically, you guys will have to schedule, we could do a guest episode while you're at Wallachia, but that's up to you to schedule. So we'll see.
We'll figure it out on arrival when we do the ep.
All right. See you guys. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.
We say things that don't mean anything.
Subscribe.
But thanks for
Merch.sunsfan.pg.
listening.